Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Tonight is Wednesday, January 12th, 2022. This is live stream 739 or 9. So welcome aboard. If this is your first time joining me, let me point out this is super casual. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news and taking a look at a tabletop game. So we are in the midst of our old school for the New Year's celebration, which is taking place all throughout January. And all this week, we've been looking at the Adventure Conqueror King system from Autarch LLC. And tonight, we are going to look at the Heroic Fantasy Handbook for ACKS. I always feel like Bill the Cat from Bloom County when I go, ACKS! So stay tuned. We are going to jump on into that in just a little bit. But of course, we're going to tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So if you're tuning in live and you're here to check out the Heroic Fantasy Handbook, then you got about a half hour, 25 minutes or so, because we tackle the news first. If you're watching the stream after it's ended, as long as it's 30 minutes or more after the finale of the stream, then there are also going to be timestamps. So if you don't want to hang out and check out the news, you can jump right ahead. All right. Anyway, I should mention, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming unboxing and first look at the starter set for the second edition of the One Ring role-playing game from my friends over at Free League Publishing. So that is on the horizon. There are a lot of role-playing game videos on the way, and a few board gaming reviews as well. So stay tuned. Just because the live stream's only 3 nights a week does not mean there's only 3 videos a week. And of course, on Saturday, I will have my old school flashback as I take a look at the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide from 1979. Sweet. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews by people other than me. So we've got Sammy, Kevin, and Omanal. I know. You got to figure out who Omanal is now. You'll have to go take a look at the website. Be like, okay, there's Sammy, there's Jeff, there's Kevin. Oh, hey, now we know Omanal's name. It's kind of a mystery. It's a puzzle wrapped in an enigma. Anyway, so, of course, by all means, check out gaminggang.com. And you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, this is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, if you got a question or a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So, the Motor City Madman, yes, the Madman himself, one of our chat moderators, was first out the gate saying hello. We've got Battle Warpath, Mr. Eddie T. So that means Miss Sarah D. Probably is not far behind, probably hanging out watching as well. Flaming Huron, our other chat moderator, has joined us. Doug Roberts is here. Russell Higgins. Who else we got? There's Sarah D. Says, hello, well, I apparently lurked too much. Had to reload 3 times for the chat to pop up. Damn you, YouTube. Be the death of me yet. No, I'm sure something else will. So, Omenal, the aforementioned Omenal, is with us. Roll for Combat. And John Vogel is popping in. John's asking us, it a War Game Wednesday? No, John. There are no War Game Wednesdays throughout all of January. I do have a War Game news piece, though. But no, we are not taking a look. Well, I take that back. We're going to have some War Game coverage, but it's not going to be on the show. It's going to be other videos. In fact, if you missed it, I did an unboxing and first look at the one of the new board games that came out from GMT Games. It is Red Flag Over Paris, and it is a 2-player game. It's similar to Fort Sumter, from what I could tell, and I am going to hopefully get a chance to play that actually this weekend. All right, I think I am caught up by saying hello to everybody, so let's jump on into the news. Because arriving this spring from Gamelyn Games is Tiny Epic Dungeons. Here's the scoop. Tiny Epic Dungeons is a fully cooperative dungeon crawler for 1 to 4 players set in the fantasy world of Ogmoor. In Tiny Epic Dungeons, players control a band of heroes exploring a treacherous dungeon in search of the fearsome dungeon boss. Heroes make their way through the dungeon 1 room at a time. Around every corner, goblins and ferocious minions seek to block the hero's path. Where there isn't an enemy, traps are set, ready to spring on even the most prepared hero. Tiny Epic Dungeons features a modular dungeon that's unique with each play. The game is played over 2 acts, the dungeon and the dungeon boss. In both acts, the players are constantly struggling against the waning firelight of their torch, which decreases each turn. When the torch goes out, the heroes are lost forever in the darkness. Forever. I know I ask all the time if anybody knows what I mean. Why do I say forever like that? I forget if anybody's actually gotten it right. After clearing the dungeon of all its minions and finding the entrance to the lair, players must engage in an epic battle against the boss. Each boss has unique abilities and a lair with a unique environment that gives various advantages and disadvantages depending on the skill used and where the hero attacks from. These epic monsters cannot be slain by mere swords, axes, arrows, and the occasional spell. Ritual rooms around the dungeon must be used to lower their magical bond to the dungeon. The dungeon boss must be lured to these rooms to lower their defenses and allow the heroes to strike the final blow. Victory in Tiny Epic Dungeons is achieved by defeating the dungeon boss. In order to do that, the heroes will need to collect legendary loot and supreme spells. Heroes of old crafted loot to honor the ways of their clans: Bear, Lion, Phoenix, and Panther. Heroes can discover pieces from these ancient sets that grow more powerful the more you collect. Will you be the greatest warrior the Bear clan has ever seen? Or will you make the Panther clan proud by stalking your prey and striking with surprising force, unseen before the moment of impact? The story is yours to tell in Tiny Epic Dungeons. So, Tiny Epic Dungeons is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in about an hour, probably 30 minutes to an hour. There are late pledges still open. Yes, this was a very successful Kickstarter. So you can still get on board with a late pledge. You can get the deluxe Kickstarter version for $30 or get the storage expansion as well on top of it, which has more miniatures. And I believe it's got some new like monsters, additional monsters in that. So you can get that for $40. And this is slated for a spring release. My understanding, and I could be wrong, but from my understanding, I believe that you are looking at a late February delivery if you go with the late pledge as opposed to waiting for the retail edition to arrive. And of course, the retail editions are always a little bit different. Kickstarter versions are always a deluxe version of the Tiny Epic games. So the Madman says they have backed this and they're anxiously awaiting it and has had a blast with the Tiny Epic games. Yeah, I for the most part, I really like the Tiny Epic stuff. Not every game. There are a few that I'm kind of like, eh. So Doug Roberts says, Forever is from a movie. Yes, it is. It's from one of my favorite movies. Russell says they don't do Kickstarter anymore. They'll pick it up when it comes out in retail. All righty. So, David Weisberger is with us. Good to see you, David. Thanks for swinging on in and joining us in chat. So, as I had mentioned to John here in chat, I do have a wargaming news piece because coming to Kickstarter tomorrow from Mark H. Walker and the team over at Flying Pig Games is Old School Tactical Volume 1, 2nd edition. It's just sounds weird to say it like that. It's Volume 1, 2nd edition. Here's the skinny. Old School Tactical Volume 1 is the game that started the old school tactical train rolling. With its huge maps, straightforward play, and realistic feel, the game was an instant hit. So much of a hit that it sold out. Sold out and was reprinted, and then the reprint sold out. But now it's back in the ring to take another swing. Not a reprint, but a full-up 2nd edition. So what's new? The art, the counter art. Shane Logan has redone the illustrations for all the soldiers, the infantry units, for both sides, and enhanced the drawings of the vehicles. The rules are different. Old School Tactical Volume 1, 2nd edition comes with the absolute latest bleeding edge OST rules. And it is the latest version that you find in Volumes 2 and 3. Also has new player aids. The Volume 1 player aid cards have been brought up to the latest standards that include the latest vehicle combat table, which changed after the original printing. And there's new scenarios. They include corrections necessitated English, Jeff, by errata, as well as a layout upgrade to bring them in line with Volumes 2 and 3. Additionally, the game boosts 2 new tutorial scenarios, playable by newbies and grognards alike. Or as those unwashed heathens say, grognards. Duh. It's not pronounced grognards. Anyway, and several stretch goals that the fine folks over at Flying Pig Games think you all like, from neoprene border strips, which Flying Pig has done that for other games as well, which mark the map edges for your smaller scenarios. The upgraded linen-backed data cards, too. Well, you'll just have to check out the Kickstarter tomorrow to find out. But what if you're new to the series? What is Old School Tactical? OST is the first in a dynamic series of fresh tactical war games. OST simulates through an easily learned game system, small unit engagements on the Eastern Front during 1941 and 42. Two players contest each scenario using counters representing the soldiers, guns, and vehicles that fought these desperate battles. On each turn, play goes back and forth between the sides as impulse points are spent to enable a player's forces to act. When the battle is over, casualty and victory points are tallied and a victor is declared. Old School Tactical Volume 1, second edition, is for two players, ages 13 and up. Scenarios play in 60 minutes or more. And from what I have seen, I could be wrong, but from what I have seen, because the Kickstarter's not live yet, you'll be able to pick up the second edition for a $125 pledge. If you are not familiar with Old School Tactical, I have shared videos of volumes 2 and 3. I never got volume 1, so I never had an opportunity to share a review or anything. So you will not see a review video from the Gaming Gang on the Kickstarter project page because I never saw it. I know a lot of people probably think I did because they know I'm pretty tight with Mark H. Walker over at Flying Pig Games and Tiny Battle Games. But this is just volume 1 I never saw. Never had a chance. John Bogle points out they've got an upgrade kit if you have the first volume. Just don't know. Just don't know why I can't read those English words today. I swear this is just diet right. Nothing, no vodka or anything like that. Yeah, no vodka or anything like that in here. Doug Roberts says they don't have this, gonna have to get it. Yeah, it's a good system. I do like the system. And one of the things I definitely like about a lot of the Flying Pig Games releases is they have nice, big, chunky counters. Their counters aren't little itty bitty half-inch counters that you're like, oh my God, I can't even read what's on here. So David Weisberger said they thought the One Ring was digital only so far. No, I actually have all the One Ring stuff. Yes. My friends over at Free League Publishing sent it along. So, and Kevin has done his review. I'm just holding off on the starter set. I'm holding off on sharing that until I share the unboxing video. Russell says they have not played a bad Flying Pig game. No, they're usually pretty good. They're normally pretty good. So let's talk about some role-playing game news, because arriving later this month from Wizards of the Coast is the Dungeons & Dragons Rules Expansion gift set. Here's the deets. Expanded rules, expanded foes, expanded adventure. Embark on a journey with the rival wizards Tasha and Mordenkainen and the crime lord Xanathar. Learn new secrets and discover magical new ways to play the world's greatest role-playing game. Crafted for dungeon masters and players alike, this collection brings together all the 5th edition rules expansion books in one set, complete with a beautiful new Dungeon Master's screen. It includes 5th edition's best-selling rules expansions, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and Monsters of the Multiverse of Everything. No, I'm kidding. It's Monsters of the Multiverse. Seem to throw everything in the other two titles. It also includes a Dungeon Master's screen. And it's all together for the first time in a beautiful slip case. This set includes the debut of Monsters of the Multiverse, a comprehensive resource for players and dungeon masters alike, containing over 30 updated player character races and a massive bestiary with over 250 redesigned monsters and stat blocks, all for use in any D&D world. Each of the 3 books and the Dungeon Master's screen features special foil covers available only with this release. That is the special edition. You can see that. It's got the white covers. I actually like the special edition covers. I think those are pretty cool. It's a perfect set for players and dungeon masters looking to expand their game with additional rules and character options. The 3-volume slipcase set is going to arrive January 26th. It does carry an MSRP of $169.95. The special edition, which you're seeing right now, I believe is only available through friendly local game stores. So, I know this is a very divisive release right now because the monsters of the multiverse of everything, no, just monsters of the multiverse, is not going to be available when this set comes out. So it's not going to be available separately. The 3rd volume will be sold somewhere down the line this year. It's all we know. That it will be available as a standalone purchase sometime in 2022. Also, that 3rd book is not going to be available for tabletop, like the virtual tabletops. What the hell? Why couldn't I think of virtual tabletops? There's this weird bug flying around in here. And it's the middle of January. It's not necessarily really warm in here, yet there's a little bug flying around all the lights, and it's sort of distracting me. For one, I'm kind of curious how the hell it's even alive. So anyway, I know there are some folks who are a little upset that the Monsters of the Multiverse is not going to just be available separately when this comes out, and it's not going to be available for virtual tabletops. I don't even think it's going to be on D&D Beyond until it's available as a separate purchase sometime this year. I do not know if I'll even see this, to be very honest with you. Usually, kind of like the like gift sets and things like that, they don't send me. So I don't get review copies of those to check out. So I would think I would probably have an opportunity to check out Monsters of the Multiverse as a review copy when it goes on sale on its own. Something else, keep in mind, I believe that the Monsters of the Multiverse is going to have new stat blocks for the races and for the monsters, and it's going to be totally different. Well, maybe not totally different, but it's going to be, they are different stat blocks. They're doing something different, and that is going to be the stat block for monsters going forward after this. I have not actually seen what it looks like. So I don't know. I would take a guess it's probably floating around out there somewhere for you to check it out. It's just, I don't invest that much time into like Dungeons and Dragons minutia. It's just not my bag. I like 5th edition. Got no problem with it. I tell you when I think something's good. I tell you when I think something's not good. But I am not somebody who's got, I can't like regale you off the top of my head the smallest details about D&D, mainly because there are so many other role-playing games that I deal with all the time too. Disavowed 92 is with us. Good to see you, Disavowed. So David Weisberger says that they heard the original slipcase set, the quality was worse than the standalones instead of being fancier. I do not know. I have no idea. So Omenal says, hey, but Jeff, Wizards of the Coast gave you a giant Snuggie. Yeah, isn't that what they were called? Snuggies? Remember, I couldn't remember what the hell the name of that thing was. I said it looks like some oddball, like monk's robe with a hoodie and So Flaming Heron says, you mean Jeff's new dress? Ah, I guess we're going to have to banhammer our own chat moderator. Okay. All right. So, yeah, big enough for the whole family at once. Yeah, it's huge. It is huge. So Russell says, what if it were advanced Dungeons and Dragons? I'm not sure where that's coming from. So talking about the slipcase set, can't see it's worth getting unless you don't have any of the books and you really want them. Yeah, that's how I kind of look at it too. Is now, I could have swore, now I might be wrong, but I could have swore there's another gift set that was supposed to be out before the holidays. That was the core books. There was like a new slipcase set for the core books that was supposed to be coming out before the holidays. And then, of course, with all the shipping problems and things like that, is that it was delayed. So I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that gift set, which was also pretty pricey, it was, to me, like, I think they did throw a DM screen or something in there. So Flaming Heron says, yeah, okay, robe. It's not a robe. It's something goofy, but it's not a dress. Flaming Heron's being a wise ass tonight. So Russell Higgins says, not basic or expert. Got it. I get it. Now I get it. Yes, because the running gag, well, it's not really a running gag. It's the honest God truth. When I was in high school, we poo-pooed basic and expert D&D because we played advanced D&D. And then we didn't really play advanced D&D for much longer in high school. I think maybe the first 6 months of my freshman year, we were still playing D&D. And then after that, it was hardly ever. And then once like junior year rolled around, didn't see any time at the table at all. Moving right along. Right now, the prehistoric Ice Age role-playing game Worm is available for 60% off through Chaosium Inc. And I've got the details on the deal. Adventure at the very origins of humanity. Worm is a system-light RPG set in the last period of the Ice Age, 35,000 years ago. Characters don't have attributes or even skills, but they are instead described by strengths like Secret of the Bear or Eye of the Panther. It's the Eye of the Panther and the... Oh, no, sorry, it's Tiger. And weaknesses such as fearful or one-eyed. The nature of the game is at your discretion, and you may play a game that's more historically accurate. Yes, because we have so many historical documents from 35,000 years ago. Or you may decide to incorporate fantastical elements like magic and the spirit world that are discussed in the rules. Originally published in France, Worm is professionally translated. Nocturnal Media and Chaosium teamed up to present this acclaimed role-playing game to an English-speaking game audience. In Worm, you find adventure in the prehistoric past of our own world. In this long-forgotten time, many powerful creatures roamed a vast territory covered in steppes and taiga. I always forget how that's pronounced. Taiga. I thought it's like taiga. I don't know. I know what it is. Don't know how to pronounce it. Reaching from the White Mountains to the raging seas, mammoths, aurochs, bison, giant deer, cave bears, and cave lions. Among these huge creatures, two species of humans live in small communities of hunter-gatherers. The robust bear men, the Neanderthals, and the taller long men, Cro-Magnon, or cavemen. When you play Worm, it's going to be up to you to imagine what life was like for our ancestors and explore your own vision of this time. During your adventures, whether simply surviving or going on perilous hunts or legendary quests, your characters will gain strength, wisdom, and prestige by exploring unknown territories, daring to enter the darkness of mysterious caves, seeking out powers of ancient spirits, or challenging the creatures of the night. Right now, you can score the entire line of this game. Physical books or PDFs, they're both 60% off. In fact, I think all of the Nocturnal Media games that Chaosium teamed up with them to publish are on sale. So, Omenal says that this is an interesting read. I think they're talking about this. They might be talking about something else. So, I like the art style. Rocky the Balborian. There you go. Okay, so my final news piece. There is a 5e based dystopian role playing game that's arrived from Beyond the Horizon. Here's what I know about Cloud Sea. Welcome to the Cloud Sea. 2,000 years after the world was covered in a mysterious fog, now known as the Cloud Sea, killing nearly everything on the planet with its radiation, society is recovered due to the ingenuity of those who saw the end coming. The gnomes, who built the massive sky cities, which people live on today, the humans, who were gifted with the foresight of tragedy in the first place, and the rat folk, ingenious workers who know how to make the best out of any bad situation. After reaching the skies, they met the mysterious Nimbus nymphs, who lived in the clouds and, due to magical and technological advancements, were able to build the android race in order to be subservient to the other four. But there was trouble brewing between the sky cities. The androids were not mindless machines, but sentient, which caused the creators of the sky city of Hydra to be shunned by the other two sky cities for not meeting the bottom line and creating automated servants, but living people. Now, with resources growing thin, Hydra is becoming more and more warlike by sending out pirates to scavenge what the other sky cities attempt to mine from the tops of mountains. While war is a sad fact of life for those living in these sky cities, diving into the Cloud Sea has become the most profitable job within the sky cities, besides piracy. And though dangerous, many are drawn to the wealth they can garner from it. But even so, war looms around every corner. There are many players in the game who would love to see nothing more than absolute tyranny reign over the sky cities, or anarchy rule the streets. Cloud Sea is a dystopian Roaring Twenties inspired setting primer that includes the history of the three sky cities, Dragon, Phoenix, and Hydra. Also contained within these pages are racial write-ups for the 5 core races of this setting, and rules regarding the radioactive Cloud Sea itself, as well as rules for airplanes, constructs with trapped elemental beings inside to utilize as vehicles. But be wary of what you read. This book is narrated by the Minister of Truth. We know what that's always like. Of the Sky City of Dragon herself, Inari Sam, a gnome at the upper echelons of society, and she may not be the most reliable source of information nor the most moral of people. Needless to say, supporting a brutal dictatorship that suppresses both free speech and the real history of events makes one a pretty terrible person. Within this book, you will find 5 new races, either reimagined from classic 5e races or new ones, 12 new subclasses, an expanded look at the history of the 3 sky cities, including maps, 13 NPCs, and 2 monsters to flesh out your games. Welcome to the Cloud Sea, where everyone's a winner. Unless you're one of the unlucky ones, that is. You can score the 150-page Cloud Sea 5e in softcover, which includes a PDF, over at Drive-Thru RPG for $29.95, or you can grab the PDF alone for $13.95. I thought this looked kind of interesting. I I get a kick out of the artwork. There's supposed to be like ads, like posters and that. And to me, it kind of gave me this odd, like BioShock vibe. It's like, I know it's got nothing to do with BioShock. I think maybe it's like the Try Elixirs poster too, because that was one of the things in BioShock. You drank the elixirs to give you the different powers and that. Could be kind of cool. Could be kind of interesting. It is available over at Drive-Thru RPG. Russell says they'd have to watch Metropolis to get into the mood. Cool. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Fritz Lang's Metropolis. I haven't seen that movie in decades. It has been a long time. Russell says, I like the art. I'm kind of meh on the premise. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I just talked about Drive-Thru RPG during our last news piece there. It's important to keep in mind that the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, then by all means, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Of course, if you like this video, if you like what I do, if you dig the channel, if you like thegaminggang.com, you can always buy me a cup of coffee or some soda by going over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. Big thanks to the Madman who just made a donation earlier today, or maybe it was last night. I don't know. I got notification of it today. So thank you very much. Much appreciated. And anytime anybody uses those banner ads or they make a donation through paypal.me, an angel gets their wings. That's right. Maybe it's a demon. Maybe it's a demon gets their wings. I forget. Something gets their wings. A fly gets their wings. Help me. Help me. All righty then. So today we're going to be taking a look at another source book for the Adventure Conqueror King system. And real quickly, I am just going to point out, just because I share games from publishers does not mean that I rubber stamp their personal policies or politics. Okay? Got it? Don't get your shorts in a bind. Fleming Huron says, isn't it Angel gets her halo? Well, every time a bell rings, an angel gets her wings. Sarah D says, I didn't realize the donations were for Red Bull. Yeah. There you go. Every time somebody uses the banner ads or makes a small donation, a Red Bull gets its wings. Flaming Heron says, nah, I think you're right. It's an angel gets her wings. Yep. That's, well, I mean, that's from It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know if that was, necessarily a thing. I only know it from It's a Wonderful Life. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets her wings. All right. So today I am going to be taking a look at the Adventure Conqueror King system Heroic Fantasy Handbook from Autarch LLC. It is written by Alexander Macris with Jeff Binder, Mark Bobber, Colin Chapman, Kamagu, Amy Macri, Charles Myers, Michael Morrison, and Jonathan Presberry. Artwork is provided by Michael Sirigos, Simon Forster, William McCausland, and Mark Rattle. This 224-page book is available as a hardcover with a PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG for $35. You can get the soft cover with a PDF for $30. We're going to be looking at the soft cover today. Or you can snag the PDF by itself for $10. So far, we have seen the Autarch LLC releases in PDF be very affordable, very price and wallet friendly compared to some stuff that we see in PDF. So, Null Inquisitor has joined us in chat. Says, every time a Taco Bell rings, someone needs the bathroom fast. There you go. There you have it. All right, so let's swing on over. Flaming Heron says, even not being on sale, these are good value PDFs. Strangely enough, this one isn't. This one is not on sale during the new game for the new year sale over at Drive-Thru RPG. Now, over on DM's Guild, their sale is new campaign for the new year over there. So let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Heroic Fantasy Handbook. Once again, cool artwork on the front. Very nice, very nice. Let's take a look at the back here. I'm not going to read everything from the back of the book, but we'll get a feel. The Heroic Fantasy Handbook is a rule supplement that brings the flavor of heroic fantasy, imagine that, to your favorite role-playing game. Cleaving away decades worth of assumptions and expectations about how characters heal, fight, and adventure, how magic works, what spells do, and more, the Heroic Fantasy Handbook offers a fresh way to play with familiar D20 fantasy mechanics. And then it talks about what we get, which we're going to look at anyway. So Dave is asking, what are people's thoughts on ACKS? I have not read any of these yet. So this week we have just been doing first looks. But the fine folks over at Autarch were kind enough to send along 8 books. So I've got some supplements. I think a couple of them are adventures or adventure supplements as well. So as we can see, this was a successful Kickstarter or crowdfunding project because here we have all the backers. So a few things to point out. This review copy was sent to me by the fine folks over at Autarch LLC, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share any of this coverage with you. It's important these days that you know that. Also, I'm going to say picture in picture up here. It means I'm going to be cutting off the upper left portion of the book. And we are not going to look at each and every page of this book. We're just going to get kind of a feel for what's in this book. And I'll just, share some random thoughts off the top of my head. Just, stream of consciousness as I'm taking a peek through. So one of the things that I'm kind of curious about is because you notice it says heroic fantasy. And like many things, everybody has their own definition. So for an example, OSR, people all have various different definitions. What an OSR role-playing game is. People can't even decide what the O, the S, and the R stand for. They're okay with the O and the S. It's the R that people are up in the air about. So I always say old school Renaissance. Other people say old school revival. I just happen to like Renaissance. I always heard old school Renaissance first. So that's what I look at. So I'm sure one of the questions that's answered in this book is, what is heroic fantasy? And I have always thought heroic fantasy was swords and sorcery. It's not high fantasy. It's probably closer to like low fantasy, but not so much. It's like I always thought it was kind of funny. A lot of people think The Lord of the Rings is high fantasy, but the reality is it's actually not. because there isn't that much magic in the world. You don't have, everybody walking around able to cast spells and things like that. Omanal says, I just think about a squirrel in Mississippi if there's a revival. So I think we start off, it looks like we're going to get some optional rules. And then we get some new modified character classes. One aspect that I've seen so far with ACKS, let me grab a quick sip here, is it appears to be very, very modular, I should say, that you can, which I guess would be pretty obvious, seeing that this is based on B/X. We were talking about basic and expert and advanced D&D. It's kind of funny because we have we had basic, we had expert, right? The B/X. And then we have the BEC, what is it? LMI or something like that. I always forget. Which the B and the E, which is basic and expert, is not the same basic and expert Dungeons and Dragons as people think. It's like, what? Like I say all the time, you think people are confused. Now, there you go. BECMI. Thank you, Omino. I thought there was a legendary set in there somewhere along the lines. But yeah, a lot of people think, oh yeah, the B and the E, that was the basic and the expert. It's not. It's a later basic and expert. I think what, 83? Something like that. And then of course the rules cyclopedia collects all of those. So, all right, just taking a kind of a quick peek through here. Looks like we've got the different classes here. So we have an ecclesiastic character class. Got the elven spell singer, the freebooter. So that would easily be Conan. Swords Against Death. Get a little bit of a little quote from Swords Against Death. Fafhr and the Grey Mouser, which I have finally turned my nephew Cameron onto Fritz Leiber's stuff with Fafhr and the Grey Mouser. So David says, yeah, it was 1983. I thought that's when that came out, because I thought, wasn't it 81 that we had B/X? Well, I mean, I thought, like I said, it confuses a lot of people. It confuses me. And remember, I never picked that stuff up anyway. So, right. So discussion about the lore master. It's another class we've got. So it looks like we've got quite a few new classes. I think the previous book we took a peek at had like 16 new classes. I wouldn't be surprised if we've got 16 new classes or updated classes as well. And this, the occultist, the Thracian death chanter. I think that's probably like kind of like an evil cleric or something along those lines. The war mistress, the Saharan sorcerer. So one aspect I've always liked about sword and sorcery is that magic is usually relatively rare. Magic is very dangerous. Magic is very wild. It's very difficult to control. I've always liked that aspect. So we got new and modified weapons, armor, and equipment. Heroic codes. In heroic fantasy settings, adventurers may hold to a code of behavior known as a heroic code. Adhering to such codes is a mark of greatness and increases the hero's fame and glory in the eyes of his people. In game terms, a character who behaves according to a heroic code for the course of the entire adventure gains a 10% bonus on experience earned during that adventure. And then we have aspects of the warrior code. We have heroic funerals. So now we have heroic adventures. Let me tell you the days of high adventure. The wizard and Conan the Barbarian. Like I always sit there and I'm like, in the days before Atlantis fell into the sea. However it starts off. Special maneuvers, thievery. We've got heroic magic. Illusions, shades of magic. I believe we also get a new way of using magic in this book. Omanel says Mako was awesome. Yeah, I always liked Mako. He was always good. He was always good in movies. So we've got some new and updated spells. Looks like we got quite a few of those. Wow, looks like we got a lot of these. Oh, look at that. And then we have heroic monsters. So that's something else that you tend to see in sword and sorcery is that you don't have monsters, you have a monster. So as opposed to, oh, look, there's, orcs and goblins and hobgoblins and bugbears and lizard men and kobolds and everything else. You don't have minotaurs, you have the minotaur. You don't have a dragon, it is the dragon. So I wonder if that's sort of how it's looked upon here with these heroic monsters. So we have a section about dragons, giant snakes, straight out of Conan the Barbarian, treasure types. I'll tell you what, so far the 3 books that we have looked at for ACKS, they are just jam-packed with gaming material. There is not a lot of fluff. Talking about custom classes, that was something that we saw in the core book. If I remember correctly, I think yesterday in the Player's Companion, there was also some discussion about custom classes as well and creating your own templates, because each of the classes also have templates that kind of tweak them so they're a little bit different. And then if I remember right, I think we were seeing that they almost had like a starting equipment kind of like stat block for them as well to kind of help speed up play. Bane122 is joining us in chat. Says they're really enjoying the looks at the reincarnated adventures and the old D&D books. Hey, well, you're very welcome. As I said, all throughout January, it is old school for the new year. And thankfully, I've got some old school stuff for us to be taking a peek at. So looks like these are secrets. Trying to figure out what secrets might be. All the new classes in this supplement were built using rules in the ACKS Player's Companion. There we go. Just talking about that. With new or modified class categories. So it's kind of discussing how you can kind of create your own custom classes again. So if you want to be like a magic user who summons, just kind of a breakdown there. Then we've got recommended material for heroic fantasy campaigns. So we got, yeah, of course, Paul Anderson's The Broken Sword, Three Hearts and Three Lions. We got some Lynn Carter stuff. I was never a Lynn Carter fan, really. Gardner Fox. Obviously enough, Robert E. Howard's Conan and Call series. Ursula Le Guin's A Wizard of Earthsea. There you go. Fritz Leiber and H.P. Lovecraft. Michael Moorcock's Elric and Hawkmoon series. Clark Ashton Smith. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Jack Vance's Dying Earth. Yeah, that's always a given. That's where we get our Vancian magic from. All right. So then we got our open game license info. And that is the Heroic Fantasy Handbook for Adventure Conqueror King System ACKS, as Bill the Cat says. And I will be reviewing these Adventure Conqueror King System books in the very near future. I'm hoping to have some of them out this month, but I am not positive if I will or not, because I already promised that I will have all 6 of the Dungeons and Dragons Original Adventures Reincarnated series of books reviewed. So I will be shooting a lot of video, even though I have to go downtown Chicago on Friday and waste most of my day downtown for what's going to take about a half hour. What can you do? So, very nice. Once again, this 224-page book is available as a soft cover like this, which includes the PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG for $30. You can get it as a hardcover with the PDF for $35. So, in reality, for $5 more, might as well get a hardcover. Or if you want, just get the PDF alone. It'll set you back $10. So far, the 3 core books we've taken a look at with the sale that's going on over at Drive-Thru RPG, you could get those 3 books for $23. And you're looking at about 650 pages of content. Thereabouts, about 600 maybe. So pretty sweet. This system looks pretty cool. It looks kind of crunchy in ways that I may not like the crunch. But once again, I've said it time and time again. I am one of these people who it's like, nah, I don't like that. Throw that out. Bring this in. That's one of the aspects of ACKS that seems very cool, is how modular it is. So it's like, all right, so okay, so I don't like those systems. Fine. I know some people are like super into like domain play. I'm not so much. Not so much. Because, well, normally, for one, I haven't run tons of fantasy role-playing games. I have more recently, but it's usually lower level adventure. It's, first through third levels, or if there is no level to the system, it's usually, like beginning characters and that. So still, stay tuned. I will have some reviews very soon. So what's going on next week? I'm not sure yet. So I have reached out to Gavin Norman to see about putting together the interview for us to talk about old school essentials, because I wanted to cover that next week. But if I have to, I'll push that back until the last week of the month, and we'll just look at a variety of different old school books that I've picked up on the side. And I've got like Ultraviolet Grasslands. I've got Mothership. I've got Cairn. I have Iron Falcon. I actually picked up Iron Falcon from Amazon because it was, like $5 or something like that. So we're going to take a look at a bunch of different stuff. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's going to be next week that we look at old school essentials or if it'll be week after that, but that is on the horizon as well. All righty then. Once again, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Also inform you when I upload other videos, such as this coming Saturday's Old School Flashback. As I take a look at the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide. And, of course, I have my unboxing and first look at the second edition of the One Ring and its starter set. I also have the core book as well. So, like I said, lots and lots of role-playing goodies, not only for this month, but further on. I already pointed out, you'll see a little more of a focus on role-playing games in 2022 than in the past. And one of the reasons is because of COVID, it's gotten just so much more difficult to actually get together with people to game and to play board games and play them enough to get reviews in. All right. Anyway, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang YouTube channel, damn this bug. It's like, get out of here. I wonder if anybody's seen it like flying across. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week. Have a fantastic weekend. I will be back on Monday. And, of course, here's hoping all of you out there have the opportunity to get in plenty of great gaming with your gang. See you Monday. Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.